A lot of news online. Snapchat is once again in the headlines, not for the best reasons though. The CEO, Evan Spiegel, has allegedly said something that has driven thousands of users in India to downgrade and delete the app. Here's a report on how popular Snapchat is in the country and what this controversy is all about. And does the Indian consumer even need an app like Snapchat?
Snapchat is in a wee bit of trouble after a former employee of the social messaging company alleged that CEO Evan Spiegel once said India was too poor for the social network to expand its global base. Obviously, Spiegel's remarks on calling India too poor has enraged millions of Indians, most of whom have probably never used the app. And ever since the news broke of Snapchat disrespecting India, users have started to delete the app. Hashtag uninstall Snapchat and hashtag boycott Snapchat are currently trending on Twitter. But before the nation goes all up in arms, we need to understand what exactly is Snapchat's presence in India, and does India even fit into the company's business model? Well, globally speaking, Snapchat is a popular messaging and photo-sharing mobile app with over 165 million daily active users worldwide. Its popularity among celebrities, influencers and teens made the app one of the most vibrant social media platforms. The app's growth is fueled by its innovative features, especially those self-deleting pictures. While there is no clarity on the exact user base of Snapchat in India, some believe the app has 4 million users here as of last year. This is a small number, which means it's nowhere close to Instagram, Twitter or Facebook in terms of popularity. In fact, Facebook has a total of 213 million users in India for the year 2017. Twitter on an average gets 41.19 million monthly active users in India. Instagram has 16 million users in India. These figures suggest that users in India don't care much about Snapchat, neither do smartphone makers. So while Facebook, Instagram and Twitter come pre-bundled on most smartphones, Snapchat never is. Given that Facebook and WhatsApp both have the features which make Snapchat what it is, it will be tough for this company to get Indian users to adopt it in favor of the others.
And joining me in the studio this evening, Sahil Maniktala, tech editor at WION, Cyril Sam, he's a journalist and social media and technology expert, Ankit Tuteja, tech correspondent at WION. Good evening to all of you. And let me confess first, I really don't understand how Snapchat works, and I'm trying to figure out what this storm is about. Sahil.
Right. So firstly, we need to verify how authentic this comment by Spiegel is. As far as we know, he hasn't actually made any direct comment on this subject, on this matter. What we know is that a former disgruntled employee, who is, by the way, suing Snapchat, has said that Spiegel allegedly made this comment. Now, just for the benefit of our viewers, let me just give you the gist of what that statement, that alleged statement is about. It basically says that Snapchat CEO said he wasn't bothered with poor countries like India and Spain, and he also goes on to say that this app is only for rich people and I don't want to expand into poor countries. Now, we need to put what he said, if he actually did say it, in context, right? We need to understand where this was said. Was it said publicly? We don't know. Was it said in an internal team meeting? We don't know. But let's, for argument's sake, assume that it was made in an internal team meeting, and let's just assume that actually happened. I don't see any problem with that personally. I mean, if tomorrow an Indian CEO comes up and says, you know what, I don't want to expand into, I don't know, Bihar because Bihar doesn't have the proper infrastructure, you're not going to start World War III. I think the problem here is that most Indians, in fact, a lot of Indians, they get somewhat overly sensitive about certain subjects, right? I think we need to look at the other side of the story as well, where the other person is coming from, what his perspective is, and not always jump the conclusion or, pull the trigger.
Ankit, what has got so many Snapchat users in India worked up? Because this sounds like a fairly valid argument. Right. Also, we don't know if he actually said it. Even if he did, he said it 2 years back. So why the fuss now?
So I somewhere completely agree with Sahil that the issue was blown out of proportion. It could have been handled more responsibly. And even if it was said, there shouldn't have been any problem about it, because if it's a poor country, it's a poor country. And also, on record, nothing was said. So I can give the company the benefit of doubt here that it was said in an internal meeting or off the record. And I would not have a problem with the statement if it was based on facts. Because if you look at the country like India, especially when you talk about the mobile communication or the mobile infrastructure, it's growing by leaps and bounds. So calling a country a poor based on almost nothing doesn't make any sense. If that is the case, if India is a poor country, then why companies like Apple, Amazon, Netflix, for that matter, Twitter are going inroads into the Indian market? They are investing a lot of money in the Indian market. And if you look at the recent behavior, Apple is in touch with the Karnataka government, and they are coming up with the iPhone manufacturing plant in Bangalore. So if this is the case, then why are these companies, the tech titans of the technology world, why are they going inroads into the Indian market? Having said that, if talking about the business model, Snapchat might say that our business model doesn't match with a country like India because the digital advertising investment is very less here. So what do we actually need to, what does Snapchat actually need to sustain in a country like India? Large number of smartphones with maybe access to high-speed data or Wi-Fi, large number of consumers interested in video content, and a lot of money getting invested into the digital space, digital advertising. So if you look at if you go by the reports, if you look at the recent behavior, India last year surpassed USA and went on to be the second most smartphone used company globally after China, of course. And even like India is an Android dominated market, but despite that, iPhone sales shot up by 50% last year. It clearly indicates that mobile communication is growing by leaps and bounds in a poor country like India. And if you come to large number of viewers interested in video content, reports have said that 85% of viewers spend their time watching content. 85% of viewers spend their time watching content on mobile phones.
So you're saying there's a market. There's a market for Snapchat in India, but
Absolutely.
still Snapchat is apparently too high and mighty to invest in India, is how the viewers have understood this controversy, which is why the backlash. Do you think this holds any water?
So here's the thing. Snapchat is a camera app. Snapchat is not a communication tool. It's a camera app. Second thing, Snapchat, if you look at the company it had its IPO 2 months ago in February. In its filing, it says that it defines who its users are. Users are people who have access to high-end smartphones and high bandwidth internet use. We say that India is a growing market and that there's all kinds of things happening in the digital world. The reality is there's very little money. Second, we have really bad infrastructure. Internet in India is horrible, even on 4G networks. And Snapchat would really not work. I mean, the Android app is not a seamless, it's a pain. You can't work on the Android app. It essentially works on Apple phones. Apple phones, again, if you look at it, it's 2% of all the smartphone users in India, which is around 45% of the country which has access to phones. Only 45% of the country has access to smartphones. So we are talking about a number which is like 0.7% of the population which has access to phones. And a tiny minority of that population is the one that should be offended, or I don't see why anyone should be offended.
It's not meant crisis.
Yeah, it's not meant to be something that is used in India.
Interestingly, Sahil, there were two countries mentioned in that alleged statement, India and Spain. How is Spain responding?
Well, Spain doesn't really care. I think they have better things to do, and I think also we as Indians also need to follow in that lead. Now, the problem here is that what has Spiegel said that is so wrong? He has said India is a poor country. Well, spoiler alert, it is a poor country. It is a poor country. Yes, we are developing, no doubt, but it is a poor country. We don't have infrastructure, we don't have roads, people are dying out in the streets, and this is a fact. So what has he said that is so wrong? He's just made a factual statement that yes.
But then it's a consumer's choice.
It is.
Okay, you think we're poor, we don't want you. Go away.
That's fine.
You're making money off us.
That's fine. But you also have to look at it from Snapchat's perspective. Also Spain is mentioned in that comment. And I think Evan Spiegel probably knows that Spain is a developed country. Okay, Spain's per capita income is $32,000, while India is less than $5,000, right? So I think he's well aware that Spain is a developed country. So why would he in his right mind mention that Spain is, you know, a poor country? Why would he ever say that? Why would he categorize any other country?
Why would he even say it for India?
Yeah,
why would he have a controversy on his hands?
No, absolutely. Why would he? But if he has actually said it, if it is true, then fine, he said it. But you don't see Spaniards, you know, having a complete backlash on social media. You don't see them uninstalling their apps. So I think we should maybe,
Why don't you show us on Snapchat how people are reacting?
I don't have my phone on me, but if you guys do, you can by all means.
I'm not carrying my phone with me.
Right. And how big a PR disaster is this for Snapchat? It's, as you said, a listed company. I'm sure at some point the investors will come and say, well, this is a market.
I think how it works on the internet is if you go viral, people are curious. Now, a lot more people in India know that there's something called Snapchat. They'll try and work around it. I mean, it is a PR disaster in the sense that, yeah, people will forget it in 2 days.
For Snapdeal too, interestingly.
Yeah, that's what happened. I think it's a very good example of how misinformation circulates on the internet. Things without a context. This was something that happened a week ago. Indian media picked it up 2 days ago. 2 companies go up in fire on the internet. And why? Because there was really, I mean, it was reported without any context. It was reported as something that people should be outraged by. And that's just irresponsible journalism.
Okay. So, Ankit, when we're talking about lots of Snapchat users uninstalling the app and downgrading it, are there any numbers to buttress that?
There are no numbers as such, but people have been rating it poor. Like if there was a rating of 5, people are rating it 1 now. But what I would like to say here is I've already explained my point from the business point of view. But I would like to bring in something from the utility point of view. As Cyril said that it's not for Android or the mobile infrastructure in India is poor. But I would say that mobile infrastructure in India is decent enough for Snapchat to work in a country like India, because I have an Android phone. I have been using Snapchat for quite some time now. And I have been working, it has been working it perfectly fine for me.
Okay.
Yeah, but most people, Snapchat is an app that requires a lot of data. Okay, that's not gonna work on 2G, considering that a lot of the country still uses 2G. 4G is still quite new in India, right? It's still, you know, it's rolling out. So, I mean, to say that, you know, most people would use, correct me if I'm wrong, they would use it on their Wi-Fi, and poor people do not have Wi-Fi. It's not going to happen.
But now data tariff is not like, it's easily affordable. With the rise of Reliance Jio in a country like India, data tariffs have gone down. Many companies, including Airtel and Vodafone, have slashed their prices of mobile and data tariff.
Okay.
So it's now affordable. If earlier it was available for, say, 1,000 for 2 GB, it's now, say, 300 for 5 GB or 6 GB for that matter. So going by that logic, going by the mobile infrastructure or the data tariff, it's affordable.
It's getting better, and then, so I'll try to look at the glass half full. Snapchat doesn't want to come in India, and India doesn't want Snapchat, so
yeah, I think
solved.
No, now the Indian smartphone market is improving, and it has matured enough for Snapchat to reconsider its decision.
It's not just data. You need to have a good phone. If you consider the kind of phones that are sold in India, majority phones are below 5,000 rupees. Snapchat will not work on those phones.
Okay, I'm out of time on this one, but for all those who are angsting about this, this is our image of the day. So many people dressing up at Charlie Chaplin to give him a tribute, the largest and the one-of-its-kind tribute at Switzerland. Take a look at this. Thanks very much for watching.